I'm going to try and make this video in a reasonable length of time about kind of my general impressions. I did try to make this video a little over a year ago, and it turned into an hour long. I tried to edit it down. It was just getting to be a mess. So I never posted it. So if you see this, then that means I at least came up with something semi-reasonable. I don't know. I will be speaking in generalizations. Generalizations, by their very nature, are imprecise at best. So these are not facts. These are my opinions. They are not even just my experience, but my interpretation of my experience. Because everybody's going to come here, see things filtered through their experiences, and everyone's going to be a little different on how they view it. So anything I say here is just completely my opinion. I've been here 5 years, so doesn't make me an expert, but I've seen a little bit. We're going to try this again. As I sat down, the microphone unplugged just enough to quit working, but not enough to switch it back over to the built-in mic. So I did about 15 minutes. I just checked to see how it was looking. I was concerned about the lighting. And I'm walking up the path and I'm talking, and as I sit down, it just cuts out. I was like, well, bummer. So, to start over, one of the first things people notice and comment on here, and it's usually in a positive way, they're like, wow, everyone here is so friendly, so nice, so hospitable. And I would say that is generally true. They are pretty friendly people. They are happy people. Now, one thing that is noticed, not necessarily a complaint that you just can't help but notice, is the abject poverty that so many of them live in. And it's everywhere. I mean, you could be in a nice gated community, but you go outside that gate and you're going to see the poverty everywhere. And it's very different than, like, say, American poverty, where I come from. I grew up poor, but I grew up American poor, not Filipino poor. There's a huge, huge difference. Okay. Now, the fact that you see this poverty everywhere, some people, it brings them down. Like, how can you enjoy living there when you see all that? That's something you have to come up with on your own. I don't really necessarily see it as, oh, look how horrible it is. I look at how happy they are. I would not be that happy if I was that poor. I wouldn't. Probably be nice if you can, because there's no sense in being miserable. But it kind of, you see the poverty everywhere, and it's eye-opening if you've never really seen it before. I did a lot of traveling in the Navy and after, so I've seen a lot of it, and I wasn't really surprised when I came here and was surrounded by it. Now, you can't help everyone, but you can do what you can when you can. So we do try and do some help, but now, one thing a lot of expats complain about, it's a very common complaint I try not to get involved with, but it is a very common complaint you'll hear, is that they say a lot of the Filipinos are frivolous with their money. When they get a little extra money, they just waste it. Well, I think all three of those kind of tie together if you look at it. Like I said, I was raised American poor. And when we were able to convince my dad to do something special like McDonald's or Jack in the Box, it was very cool. And I can remember now I can think back to 1974 when I got this great game. It was a paper, board game that came in whatever they called their Happy Meal at Jack in the Box. And it's a stupid thing, but I was 8, 9 years old, and that was awesome. Now, we didn't eat out much back then. My dad had no money. He was working 2 or 3 jobs, and we were on food stamps. So we didn't go out a lot. But every so often, it sure is nice. And I see that here a lot. If they get a little extra money, it's not going to bring them out of poverty. It's not going to pay off their debts. They could pay a little bit to the 5-6er, which is the loan sharks here. But for the most part, that little extra money, saving is hardly an option. You can try and save it, but there's going to be an emergency. Something is going to come take that money. That's just life. It works that way. So maybe you go get that pair of shoes you've been looking at, or a nice new shirt. Or you take the kids to Jollibee's, which is a cultural experience. Dinner and a movie. I mean, sometimes just go out and have some fun. Now, some of them, they will buy a cell phone. But really, I think in these days, a smartphone is hardly an option anymore. Smartphones keep you connected to the whole world. I think that doesn't even count as an option anymore. So I see what they have here. They have this really good attitude. We've got a house down here. It's a little ramshackle, built out of scraps of bamboo. The walls aren't even solid. There would be slats here and some solid bamboo here and a couple pieces of plywood. I mean, it's really, and it's small. It's a very small house. And you see it in the morning when they come out. I've been there, and there's like 5 or 6 adults and countless kids. So it looks like 3 whole families sharing this one room. That's pretty poor. I mean, but the kids are all happy. They're all out playing, having a good time. They're friendly. They all talk to me when I go by. The kids are happy. Parents might be struggling to put food on the table, but the small kids don't see that. Older kids get it, but the smaller kids just know that's the way you live. All their friends live the same way. So they don't really, when you're completely surrounded by the poverty, you don't necessarily see it as much. It's like, to them, it's normal. As you get older and you see more and you see other people and you kind of, it might change. But at first, they're all just happy. They got all their friends living with them, And I think a lot of it is the attitude. You have to find the happiness in each day. And the Filipinos are generally pretty good at that. And that is something I think we in the West could learn. I had a lot of that attitude already, which I think is what helped me slide in here and fit in. Because some guys get over here and don't like it. Things rub them the wrong way. You do have to have a lot of patience. Things are not going to run the same as wherever you're from. You might think things are done wrong, but there's 100 million people here that are going to tell you they're doing it right. So they're not going to change for you. They're not. But they're generally happy. But I think a lot of it is their attitude. They choose to be happy. There's a lot to be said for that. And I'm not saying just, when you're down, smile, fake it till you make it. No, you have to find the happiness in each day. You have to find, if you come here or wherever you are and you're looking for misery, you will find it. You bring it with you, most people. And Who's sneaking up on me? Hello, sneaking up on me?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. You filter everything through your perceptions, your ideas, your feelings. And I think there's a lot to be said for choosing to be happy. And I've heard some people saying, well, you can't just do that. Things have to change. No. You look around here, there's a lot of poverty. When they say there's nothing for dinner, they don't mean there's a pantry full of food that they don't feel like cooking. Oh, we're down to the lima beans and the sauerkraut and beets. No. When they say there's nothing for dinner, they mean there's nothing. Nothing for dinner. Okay. You will see some poverty here that will just shake you to your core. Yet they're happy. For the most part. And I think there's a lot dealing with just how they choose to be. There are things you can change, and there are things you can't. Hopefully poverty is something you can change, but when everyone around you is doing the same and there's no jobs, you don't see the options, or you don't make the options. So kind of going back to what I was saying, the three points I was starting with is the poverty, the happiness, and maybe they spend in ways that some might call frivolous. But it does all kind of go together. You get that little extra money, you do something special with it, you do something nice. You enjoy the time with your family and friends, and you're having good memories, and you're happy. That's not wasting money. To me, that's a good use of money. Money's kind of like manure. Doesn't do any good piled up. You got to spread it around and help young things grow. That's kind of what it's all about. I was at Jollibee's one time, speaking of a cultural phenomenon. We were at Jollibee's, and you could see all these kids were eating and having a glorious time. Because many of them, middle-class kids, they'll eat out all the time. But a lot of these kids don't get out very often. And it was a huge deal for some of these kids to be at Jollibee's. And we're eating, and I saw their eyes just bug out. The jaws dropped to the floor, and I looked behind me, and it was Jollibee. In costume, had the mascot, was there, walking around, dancing with the kids, taking pictures, and it was like best day ever. So if some of those parents were, doing a little splurge and taking the kids out for some fun, man, those kids are going to remember that. And again, like I said, I think that's an important part. You've got to enjoy life. And that day in particular was just so funny because you'd see all these kids, and they were like already just so excited that they were at Jollibee's. Like I said, if you've not been here, you may not understand what that means. It's a chicken place, by the way. Expats love to complain about the quality of the food, but we are not the target demographic. It's not the best food, but whatever. It's fast food, we expect. But it is a cultural icon. It's Jollibee's. And to have Jollibee come out and see you and dance around and do pictures, and it was, like I said, that's a good use of money. I don't have a problem with that. They find their happiness, they enjoy themselves. And a lot of us, I think, can learn from that. Like I said, I had brought a lot of that with me. And so I fit in rather well when I got here. I think the biggest culture shock I had, and this one's just kind of stupid, but we were going to a movie. We had a 17-year-old nephew with us. The theater was packed. The popcorn line was insane. So, and we were running just not late, but we were pushing it. So I was like, let's just go inside. And he's like, I wanted popcorn. I'm thinking, what's your problem, kid? You know, let's just get in. There's no seats. My wife said she would get the popcorn and meet us. So we went inside. She came in. Everything was fine. I was glad to have the popcorn too. But she told me later that he really wanted the popcorn because it was his first time in a movie theater, and that was part of the experience that he wanted to have. It took a second. It was, wait, what were the key points here? 17 years old, first time at a theater. Now, as an American, that just kind of blew my mind more than it should have. But then I thought about it. They live out in the province. They're 2 hours from the nearest city. And that city did not have a movie theater until last year. So they would have to come all the way here to Iloilo, which is like 5 or 6 hours on the bus. And when you come here visiting friends and family, you don't have the time or the money to take half a day to go to a movie theater. So he's 17 and never been to a theater. That was the closest thing I had to culture shock. And that one just kind of like, it fried my brain for a minute. I was like, wait, what? Then I was completely on his side. Yes, he should have popcorn for that movie. Of course he should. I'm like, yes, I'm completely on his side. I wasn't on his side originally, I have to admit. But, you know, sometimes you got to take a step back and get the whole picture. I was going in with incomplete information. And I was thinking, who is this kid who's throwing a fit in with popcorn? Dude, you're 17, grow up. No, it was his first time at a theater. And I was like, it's still, I think back on it, it's still kind of, it's just odd. And there's a lot of that here. But you bring your attitude with you when you come here. The way you perceive things, the way you expect things to be. Another story, our immigration office here is very small. There's like half a dozen tables, half a dozen people. We all deal with these same clerks. Here's more family. Say, hello. I have often said that the Iloilo Immigration Office has been really helpful, very friendly, nice people, good service. Now granted, that last 13A visit had a little bit of scamminess, but I understand when government employees get their pay cut. I was a government employee that got my pay cut. I understand that. I don't have to like it, but I understand it. But before that, for the years I've been here, the Iloilo office has been really, really good, really friendly, very helpful. I know another expat here always talk about how horrible they were. Every time he goes, every time it turns into a fight. They got bad attitudes, they got, it's just all this trouble. I'm thinking, dude, it's the same office. Like I said, it's the same 6 people. I know he's dealing with the same people I'm dealing with, and they have always been so friendly, so helpful, so nice. And he's going to the same office going, they're terrible. It's always a fight and this and that and that and that. I'm like, what? The only difference is us. He goes in there looking for trouble, and he finds it. So be careful what attitude you bring with you. And that's something we can learn here. You look at them, they are mostly friendly, happy, hospitable, nice people. Now there are some cano taxes, the long nose tax, whatever you want to call it. There is some of that. Here we don't have a lot of tourists, so we don't really have a lot of problem with that. You go somewhere with more tourists, you'll have more problems with it. I had a lot more problems in Mexico as a tourist than I ever had here. So it's not as bad as people want to make it out to be, but I think it's because some people are looking to be unhappy, and they will be anywhere they go. Look at this place. Look around. It's not bad. Stereos are off today, so it's quiet. I like that. That doesn't happen often, but I like when it does. But I think we can learn a lot from them on finding your happiness in each day, in each moment. Find the good and enjoy it. Enjoy the company of friends and family. Sit down and have a drink with them. When I'm out on my walks, sometimes people will invite me to sit down and have a drink. Now, generally, if I'm exercising, I'm in the mode of I'm going, and I'll say, oh, no, thank you, I've got to finish my jog. And they're okay. But sometimes I will go ahead and stop and just have a drink. And I don't know these people. Some strangers on the street invite me to drink with them. And I'll have, usually only one, sometimes two. I'm not drinking a lot. Talk to them for a minute, and say, got to get back on my walk. And they get up, they shake my hand, and they say, thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. And they sound like they really mean it. They want to share their happiness. They want to have a good time. They want to talk to people. I think there's a lot we can learn here. It's up to you what kind of attitude you want to bring here. But I think if you look at most of the people here are happy. They are friendly. They are hospitable. There is a lot of poverty, but they're happy. I would not be as happy in that situation, probably. It's something we could all work on. So just with some general impressions, okay? Again, this is my interpretation of my experience. It's pretty good here. People are nice. People are friendly. They take care of you. They take care of each other. If you treat them nice and friendly and respectfully, they will treat you the same. If you treat them like crap, they may treat you the same. I mean, it's most people here, most of the expats drop their problems with them. Leave your baggage at home. If you are not happy where you are, you may very well not be happy here. I was pretty happy in the U.S. I just didn't want to work. My health was getting bad. I was getting old. I wanted to quit working. I've been here 5 years. Next year I get to retire. If I lived in the U.S., I'd have to work for another 10. So I think it's okay. But bring a good attitude, bring a good outlook, be friendly, be nice, be respectful. And that's what you'll get in return. It's been really good here.
Enjoy your day in paradise.